Welcome to a CWPA National Remote Broadcast of the MAWPC Water Polo. We're here at Colonel B. Francis Messmore Aquatic Center for a match against the Fordham University Rams against the George Washington Revolutionaries for Game 2 out of 3 of this set. Fordham Rams against George Washington. Fordham earlier in the day at 10:30 took on the Navy Midshipmen, taking them down with a final score of 17-11. But don't let that fool you, ladies and gentlemen. George Washington also is coming from Staten Island, where they just took on Wagner, beating them by a score of 13-12. Coming all the way back, about to get this game underway for Fordham, the first swim off of the day, as we hear the starting lineups for Fordham. Swim off is underway. Be number 20 against number 10 for George Washington. Fordham in the maroon caps, George Washington, GW in the white. Off to a hot start, these Fordham Rams, winning 11 of their first games. They start off 11-0. Number 6, George Papanikolov in the corner. Back up to the point, number 2. Back to, that's a goal for Fordham. 30 seconds in. The goal scored by number 4, Fordham, James Ostrovich. Number 20 for Fordham. Andres Tolth scoring that goal for Fordham. George Washington making their way back up the pool. Number 10 on George Washington, Donis Vasilis. Passing it back out, back to the top of the point. Bringing it to the midpoint in the pool. Bringing it to the point. Taking it up. That's some tight Fordham defense. On number 3 for George Washington, Leo Lutterman, getting the ball taken away by the Fordham defense. Number 8 at the top of the pool for Fordham. Rising. Back out to the point. Back up top. Bringing it to the midpoint, George Washington. It's looking like an exclusion. Fordham going 6 on 5 for this one. Back out to Papanikolov. Back to number 13 at the point. That's a Rams turnover while being 6 on 5, and they get it back. Number 8, Papanikolov rises. That's a save. Luca Castroni from George Washington. Back to the corner, Papanikolov passes it back to number 13 at Fordham, Tyler Flehy. Back to Papanikolov. In the corner of the goal, that's a goal for Papanikolov, adding to his total. Luca Castorina for GW has the most saves in his career. He's a problem in the net. 1,059 career saves. He had 98 in his first 10 matches with GW this year. He's someone to watch out for. He's not going to be letting up a lot of scores. But right now for Fordham, 2-0 to start this game. Fordham working, George Washington working their way. That's a goal. Thomas Lukarian lets in another one. His first one of the game, excuse me. On number 2, George Washington. Yam Kobakov gets that one in for his first goal of the game. George Washington, their first score of the game. Fordham 2, GW 1. The Revolutionaries getting their first score of the game. Fordham passing it back up pool to the midpoint. Looking for a place to pass it. Back to the left side. That's a turnover by the Rams. The Revolutionaries are swimming up. Passing it back to number 6. Number 5 to the right wing. To the left wing, excuse me. To number 4. To the midpoint, they turn it over. 2 guys there for the Rams, number 14. Come on, West. Passes it back, Thomas Lukarian to the midpoint of the pool. Number 7 on Fordham, Gabriel Maloney. Back out. Almost it's another turnover for the Rams. Playing a bit sloppy right now, but George Washington unable to profit. It's looking like that's another exclusion on George Washington. Fordham going 6-on-5. Into the corner. Fordham back out to the left wing. Playing it on. Number 12 back over. Rising. Waiting. Throwing it over to the midpoint. Back out to the left. Back in. That's another goal for Fordham. 3-1. The Fordham Rams. That was number 9. Paul Amiran goal for the Fordham Rams. St. Francis transfer, where he had 25 goals and 63 points last season for the Fordham Rams. From Provence, France. Number 10 working his way up for GW. Back out, Adonis Vassous for GW. Back to number 5, Antonio Flora. Passing it cross pool to the midpoint to number 16. Fordham playing some tight man defense, two on him. Continuing to play, GW ball, back to number 9, working his way through, sizing up Wukarian. He passes it to the shot clock there. Back to the ref, George Washington ball. Back to number 2 at the top of the pool, over on the left side. Passes it to the center, back over. GW moving the ball to the center point. Thomas Wukarian able to take it out. Gonna pass it back up to number 12 on Fordham, Jakub Perella. Back to number 11 in the corner. Mark Katsov passing it back to the top point. That's a block! Luca Castriani, excuse me. Blocks another one. Told you, he is a problem in the net today for the Fordham Rams. He'll be blocking and trying to keep as many goals out as possible for GW today. Number 5, faking, rising. It's looking like it's going to be a foul on Fordham. Excuse me. A foul on Fordham. A penalty shot for number 10 in GW, Adonis Vassous. 4-time champion in Greece. Blocked by Thomas Wukarian. Just got a piece of it in the corner. Back out to Fordham. Working their way up the pool. Back to number 7 on Fordham at the midpoint of the pool. To number 9, Paul Miragol. Fordham's going to have to give it back to the ref to get a throw-in. Ordinary foul. Referees look like they're talking something over right now. Fordham's waiting it out, seeing what's going on. It's looking like it might be an exclusion on the Fordham Rams. Yeah, George Washington going 6-on-5. Exclusion on Fordham into the penalty box number 4. James Ostrovich talking it over right now. George Washington should be maintaining possession, waiting for this game to start again. Ref. A lot of whistles going on right now. Fordham timeout called by their head coach, Brian Barakina. Trying to talk it over with the Fordham Rams, get something set up. Finally, play is going to resume for this George Washington Fordham game. Fordham up 3-1 with 3 minutes left in this first period. Thomas Lukarian looking to throw it to the Fordham Rams. Number 12 at the top of the pool. Number 18, excuse me, at the top of the pool. Back to number 12. Over to the midpoint. To the hole, number 4. Fordham's trying to develop something here. Trying to develop a score with 2:53 left in the first. That's a goal! Number 7 on Fordham scores a goal. Gabriel Maloney scores 1 for Fordham. Fordham's now up 4-1, 2:52 left in this first period. GW trying to get something set up before they let this game go out of their grasps. Fordham's only up 3 points right now. To the midpoint, number 10, Adonis Vasilis for GW to number 2. Back to number 10 at the midpoint of the pool. To number 5 in the mid. Fordham got 3 guys on him. Shooting. The goal will count for, or it will not count for GW against that goal. Turnover before it got shot into the net. Back to number 2. To the midpoint of the pool. To number 10 over. Back to the midpoint of the pool. George Washington has 2 people on him. Fordham maintains possession. Lucas Nito-Jasny. That's a goal! Number 4, James Oskovich. A goal for Fordham. From UC Santa Barbara, the grad school student. 68 goals, 35. He had 23 in 2023. The grad student transfer from UC Santa Barbara has been doing a lot for these Fordham Rams. George Washington talking it over with their head coach, Barry King, his 5th year as at the helm of George Washington. These Fordham Rams have been looking great this season. 11-0 to start, beating a number 17 ranked Navy team earlier into today's game. As well, George Washington beating a Wagner team and coming here now to from Staten Island to the Bronx, making a long trip to then also take on Navy later today, or sorry, excuse me, tomorrow. But for Fordham, you have to be confident in what you've been seeing in this first game. Last game, there was a few more turnovers against Navy. Navy playing tough defense. Fordham was unable to maintain the ball as much, but gotta make sure that everything is firing on all cylinders, and you can see that the changes by the Fordham head coaches. Just waiting for play to resume against George Washington. For George Washington, talking it over, Barry King, his 5th year. George Washington swimming out from the huddle, maybe with a new game plan for the Fordham Rams. Going to resume play. Fordham. Ball is inbound to number 5, Antonio Flora. Back to number 2, Yam Kobakov. Antonio Flora back to the top. To number 10 into the post. Fordham maintains that. It's going to maintain that possession from actually George Washington getting a penalty shot. That's going to be number 5, Antonio Flora, for George Washington against Thomas Lukarian. He bounces it in for a goal. George Washington 5-2. Number 5, Antonio Flora, getting his first goal of the game. His debut at 15 with the Series A Napoli Rowing Club when he was in Italy, growing up there, reaching the playoffs for 4 years, not winning any of those 4 years. But for Fordham, number 10 at the top, back into the mid-post. Fordham turning it over. George Washington getting possession back. Luca Castrone back to the top to number 10. Lucas Adonis Vasilis.
Are you on one of the cameras? Okay, cool.
Back to number 10, waiting with that Fordham defense. Rising up was Lucas Silvestrin. He was not able to get it. Back to number 14, Fordham gets the ball back. Trying to rush up the pool to get something going. 56 seconds left in this first period. Passing it back over to number 6 on Fordham, George Papanikolov. Back to the top, number 20, into the midpoint for Fordham. That's going to be another turnover. George Washington with 40 seconds left on the clock, looking to get something done before going into the second period. 5-2, 34 seconds. Number 2 at the top of the pool. Yam Kobakov passes to number 10. That's off the right side of the bar on the net. Number 1, Thomas Lukarian for Fordham in the net. Passing it back out with 22 seconds left on the clock. George Papanikolov in the corner, passing it back out to the top point. Number 2, back to number 10. Into the point, that's a goal! Fordham scoring another one with 6 seconds left on the clock. Number 10, Lukos Nito-Jasny, scoring a goal for the Fordham Rams, bringing their lead up to 4 with 6 seconds left in this first period, excuse me. 5 seconds left for this George Washington team. Looking like they're just going to take it. Goes over. That's it for the first period. Fordham leads 6-2. Fordham playing some good defense and offense. GW as well, trying to get back. New game plan. Their coach, Barry King, will be drawing something up for this next period when we come back in Fordham versus GW.
Washington, number 20 for Fordham.
Welcome back to Fordham Water Polo against GW. Starting the next swim off, it's going to be for Fordham number 20, GW number 10. Fordham winning this swim off. Number 9 on Fordham gets it. Paula Miragol back to the top of the pool for Fordham. Looks like ordinary foul play continues. Number 12 for Fordham in the low post. Rising, passes it back out to 10. 18, excuse me. Passes it back out to 12. Back to 18 in the mid post. Back over. Lucas Nito Jasny passes to Paula Miragold. Back to Nito Jasny. To number 12. Blocked by number 5, Antonio Flora on GW. Doing everything he can for this GW squad. Pushing up the pool, number 10. Two men on Fordham. Number 5 for GW, Antonio Flora, passing it to number 2, Yam Kobakov. Taking it back to Kobakov at the top of the pool. He's going to pass to the midpoint. Fordham is going to get that pass back. Heavy defense for these Fordham Rams. Number 3, Barnabas Eppel, making his way up the pool, trying to do it himself, passes it to number 9. Cross pool. Fordham on the left side, on the left wing, back up top. Jacob rises, loses the ball. Jacob Perella loses the ball back to number 7 in the low post. Fordham turns the ball. Fordham's going to get, seems like, penalty shot for number 3. Number 20, excuse me, on Fordham. Andres Tolth going to get his first pen shot of the game. Sizing up against Luca Castro. He scores! Andres Tolth doing it again. He's been great. Rookie of the week, 12 goals, goes with 8 assists, 4 steals in 4 matches, not including the goals that he got against Navy this morning. The freshman has been doing everything he can, the freshman from Hungary. World champ winner, U18 as well. Number 5 on George Washington and Antonio Flora passing it the left side of the pool. Back to the left wing. Passing it back to the top. That's a Fordham. That's a turnover. George Washington back to Fordham. Number 12, Jacob Perella, passing it back up to number 9 on Fordham. Paul Miragol working his way up the pool. Passing it. Pump fake. Back up top. Loses the ball. Passing it to the mid post. Blocked. Luca Castrioni for GW. Passes it back out to number 5, Antonio Flora. Back to number 2, Yam Kobakov to the left wing. Fordham working the defense. George Washington tries to pass it into the middle. Errant pass back to George Washington. Fordham gets a piece of that one. Back turnover by George Washington. Working their way up the pool, they're pushing pace. Number 18, Luca Provenziani, working his pace up the pool. That's a block by George Washington. What a save. Luca Castriani for George Washington, pushing the pace, trying to get there, trying to pass it up before the Fordham defense can get set. Passes it to the center. Back to the center, he loses his cap. Going to continue the play. Number 8 at the top of the pool to number 14. Peter back up top to the right side. Moving the ball to the top. Fordham gets a piece of that one. Back to number 8. Passes that to the sidelines. for GW. Fordham gets back possession, 4:29 left on the clock. Fordham pushing pace. It's only him. Up, rises. That's a goal! Number 18, Luca Provenziani did it himself, coast to coast. First up for Fordham, getting it before GW can even set their defense. GW now falling behind. Fordham 8, GW 2. Fordham with some substitutions, getting back there. GW getting back there. Missing cap, number 11 on GW, Joseph McCray, getting back his cap from the ref, getting set to start the play again. GW number 11, Joseph McCray, pack out. Fordham playing tough, full pool defense right now. Number 13 on Fordham, giving Tyler Flaherty, giving number 5, Antonio Flora, a problem. Had to pass it out. George Washington maintaining possession. Back to the top point. Antonio Flaherty. To the top, back to the right side. Trying to shoot the ball. Errant pass. George Washington will get the rebound. Shot clock violation. Fordham's ball. 3:48 to go. Number 6, George Papanikolaou crosses cross pool to the right side to number 2. Back to Papanikolaou at the top of the pool. Over to the right side to number 13. That's a turnover for Fordham. Number 5, working his way up to the pool, Antonio Flaherty. 4, George Washington, the freshman from Naples, Italy. Number 7 on George Washington, passing it back up to the right side. To the midpoint. Working their way back, passing it around. Losing the ball as George Washington rises, and he gets blocked by number 16 on Fordham, Reed Thorson. And another block by Fordham. Number 6, George Papanikolaou blocks another shot. 2:45 remaining. Working their way up the pool. Papanikolaou at the top, at the midpoint. To the right side. Rising, and he hits. Number 10, Lucas Nito Jasny. Doing it again for these Fordham Rams. Nito Jasny from Barcelona, Spain, has had 3 seasons with 50-plus goals, 100 points. It's good for the second most on the team, with 116 points and 60 assists last year. GW letting this game get away from them. Fordham up 9-2. Play resumes. Number 5, Antonio Flora, with the ball at the top between the green cones. Back to number 8, Andre Saluk, passing it back on the left side to Yam Kobakov. Losing the ball is Antonio Flora, passing it back to the side. That's another block by Thomas Lukarian. To George Papanikolaou swimming up the pool. Fordham's trying to set their offense with 2:05 left on the clock in the second period. The Rams are pushing pace to number 14. Back to Papanikolaou. To number 13, Tyler Flaherty. To Papanikolaou at the top. Flaherty working his way. Just bounces it off the other crossbar. Lucas Castrioni working his way. Number 1 to number 7 on George Washington. Back to number 7. Working their way, rising, and it's another block by Lukarian. Passing it back out cross pool. Number 13 for the Fordham Rams, Tyler Flaherty, trying to do it himself. Rising, hitting! Tyler Flaherty hitting another goal with 1:05 seconds left. It's 10-2 Fordham. George Washington was doing everything to not let that happen, but overpowered is Flaherty in that low post for the Fordham Rams. With 1:05 seconds, we're seeing some substitutions. For the Fordham Rams and GW. Resuming the Fordham substitutions. 5 back out to 4 at the top of the pool. To 4 at the top of the pool. Back out to 8, passing it, leaving it to 5. Rising. Fordham playing some tight defense into the mid post. Antonio Flaherty, that's a block. Number 17. Brendan Cassidy blocking another one. And that's an overthrow by George Washington. Another ball coming in with 38 seconds remaining. The Maroon Caps working their way up the pool. Number 17 for Fordham trying to do it himself. Brendan Cassidy. Rising and he hits. Number 22. Number 22, Marco Neapolito, rising and hitting another goal for these Fordham Rams. Number 3, Leo Letterman working his way with that ball. 25 seconds left. Fordham is working their way out of the pool, waiting for play to resume. Ball is in. It's number 4 at the midpoint of the pool for George Washington. To number 5, Antonio Flora.
Come on, Garland.
Fordham's playing some tight defense. To number 2, that's a giveaway with 8 seconds left. Fordham gets the ball back. Passing it down pool for number 2. They're running out of time. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. That's it for the second period going into halftime. Fordham up 11. GW 2 unable to score in that second period. Fordham scoring a lot more goals in this period. 11-2. The Fordham Rams looking to improve to a school best 12-0 record. When we come back after halftime, this presentation of Fordham Water Polo versus George Washington University.
No, what was it? 63-21. So we got to score. We got 21. I'm leaving anyway. I think I have.
Welcome back to Fordham versus GW. Presentation of some water polo action. GW leading right now 11-2. This swim off against Fordham. GW starting pretty soon, getting into places, getting everything figured out. Number 20 for Fordham, number 2 for GW, getting started. Back out to number 8, Luca Silvestri, to number 2. Fordham on the opposite sides of the pool, the maroon and the white. Fordham in the maroon caps, George Washington in the white. Something is brewing for George Washington. Number 3, Leo Lutterman, gets that ball out to number 5, Antonio Flora. Back out to 2. Rising, hitting off the corner. Number 2, Yam Kolbakov. Yams that one into the net with 7:31 left on the clock. 11-3 Fordham. Still in the driver's seat, but GW getting a much needed goal in this third period. They did not get one in that second one. After halftime, something was probably drawn up by Barry King. Passes it cross pool. Back to the front. George Washington got a piece of it to number 20. To the top point. Luca Silvestrin passes it out. Back to Silvestrin. To the top point. Andres Tolth. Over to the right wing. To the top of the pool. Back to the left wing. Rising. Back to the wings. Into the net. Number 4, James James Oskovich with the goal for Fordham, going up 12-3. 7 minutes on the clock for these Fordham Rams versus the GW Revolutionaries. Number 10, Luca, for number 10, and Adonis Vassis. Back to number 8 for GW, excuse me. To the top point. Back to GW into the low post. Fordham gets it away. That's number 2, Barnabas Apple. Excuse me. For number 20 on Fordham, Andres Tolth. Back out to number 2. Back to 2, Rising. Shoots! Bolash Birrier scores a goal for the Fordham Rams. GW working their way up, but for Fordham, up 10 scores. 13-3, these Fordham Rams. Fordham making some substitutions for Eppel from Budapest, Hungary. Excuse me, for number 2, Barnabas Birinier from number 8 in the left wing. Back over, Rising to number 2, to 5 atop. Over to the right wing. Passing it back out. Rising, skipping, and it's saved by Thomas Lukarian. To number 3, Barnabas Eppel, working his way up pool. Passing it cross pool to the left side. To number 18, to the mid post, trying to get the ball. That's George Washington's ball. Castroni. Back to number 2 for George Washington. Rising. Off the body of Lukari. George Washington will maintain the rebound. Never mind, Fordham gets the ball back, working their way fast up the pool. Marcus Kest working his way up the pool, trying to do it himself. For Fordham, number 18, Working his way back to the midpoint. To the top of the pool. Fordham's number 18. Over to the left side. Back out to the right. To the top side of the pool. Looking to shoot, passing it around. Shoots it, and it's blocked by the goalkeeper. Castroni. To number 10 for George Washington. He's looking to do it himself. Fordham gets the ball back. He loses it. Adonis Vassis loses that ball. Barnabas Eppel working his way up the pool. The 6'3" sophomore skipping, and he hits. Barnabas Eppel finds the back of the cage. For these Fordham Rams, 14-3, going up 11 with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left in this third period, making some substitutions, both for George Washington and Fordham. Fordham and George Washington score 14-3. Fordham in the maroon caps, George Washington in the white caps. George Washington took on Wagner today in a close game, 13-12, winning their opening match of their 3-game set. But Fordham right now looking like they're running away with this one. Playing some tight defense. Number 9 on Fordham passes back out to 10 for 5. Antonio Flora trying to find, then he does, finds the back of the cage for the Revolutionaries. Number 5, Antonio Flora has a great shot on goal. Thomas Lucari cannot stop it. The Rams looking to make their way back up the pool with 3:54 up to go. Some substitutions being made. Passing it, trying to get over the timeline for Fordham. The Rams working their way up the pool. Back to the mid post, to the top of the pool. To number 19 for the Fordham Rams, Chungor Bartusik. Passes it back to the top. Trying to find the open shot. Looking for the open man now. Pass it to the mid post. Play will continue. Fordham getting the ball back. Working their way back up top. To the side, to the wings. For Fordham up top. Back to the right side. To the left wing. Fordham trying to find the open man, number 21. It's going to be Fordham maintaining the ball. Excuse me, it will be a penalty shot for these Fordham Rams. Number 10, Lucas Nido-Jasny against Castrona. He rises and he hits. Lucas Nido-Jasny, another goal for these Fordham Rams, 15-4. Fordham working their way back up. Blowing out George Washington right now by 11 scores. George Washington trying to cut down the Fordham Rams lead while working their way up the pool. Number 10, Adonis Vassis. 3:03 left. Fordham playing some tight defense. George Washington will maintain it. Back to the right side. Over to the left wing. Fordham, GW number 9 passes back to the top of the pool. Back to number 10 for George Washington. That's a goal for George Washington. Setting up the play beautifully, number 16. Andrei Kudakov for George Washington gets that goal. George Washington passing it around, making sure that everyone gets a touch. But the Rams still up by 10. George Washington looking to cut their score down before going into this fourth period. Rams making some substitutions. George Washington making some substitutions. There looks like it would be a power play for Fordham. 6-on-5 brewing. Fordham passing it back. That's a goal for these Fordham Rams. Number 5, Jaeger McManus scores a goal from Tustin, California. Jaeger McManus, the junior. 2:25 left on this clock in the third period. GW working their way back up the pool. Fordham back up to 11 over George Washington, 16-5. GW to number 9 in the wings. Back over. Left wing. Fordham getting the ball back. Thomas Lukarian getting the ball back. Number 21 getting the touches for Fordham. The right side. Back over to the left wing. Fordham passing it to the center of the pool to number 14. Back to 21. Passing it back to the open man, number 17. Doing it himself, number 14 with the pass. Gets the pass and scores. Wes Gartland. He scores, and you can hear everyone behind me excited about that score. Wes Gartland from San Diego, California, won the D2 state chip. Playing for San Diego, earning the first team. What another score for Fordham. The crowd, getting the crowd behind them with that one. Fordham's number 2, GW's number 2, working his way up to the pool, into the midpoint. Trying to cross the timeline. Out to the center. Center of the pool. Fordham has 3 guys on him. Number 5, Antonio Flora, trying to pass it back out, finding the open man on GW. Looking out, passes back up top to Flora. Passes to the left side. Back out to GW. Number 2, he loses the ball. Flora, he misses just off. Fordham getting a piece of that one. Thomas Lukarian throwing it back out to these Fordham Rams. Passing it out. It's these Fordham Rams. To the left side. The right side, excuse me. To number 18. Back over to the right side, to the right wing. Up top. Number 11 looking to shoot. Passes to the center. To the mid post. Fordham maintains it. Back over to the right wing. Fordham passing it back. Looking to set something up. Passes it to 14. Crossing, pump fake. Back over. Number 22 up top. Number 14 on Fordham loses the ball. Wes Gartland loses the ball for Fordham. Number 2 working his way back up the pool. Yam Kobakov working his way up for George Washington with 14 seconds looking to score before the start of this fourth period. 11 seconds. Got 10. George Washington looking to work. Fordham not letting them. Number 15 on George Washington's getting the ball back. That's going to end it. Number 15 on Fordham. Christopher Gray trying to get the score. But with that, we end the third period, 17-5, these Fordham Rams. When we come back, we'll have the fourth period of George Washington versus Fordham in this water polo matchup.
think we do have a goal. 1A is down the goal for us. One is strength for Fordham's going to be number 11, Derek.
Welcome back to Fordham Water Polo. Fordham versus George Washington. Looking like a goalie change for Fordham. Christoph Magoni for these Fordham Rams. The swim off for Fordham, number 22 and number 7. Fordham's going to win this one in a close fight. Number 11, Mark Katzov, working his way up the pool with 7:55 in this game. Fordham up 17-5. Number 14, Wes Gartland, back over to 19. Chungor Bartusik working his way, pump faking, and he scores! That's number 19, Chungor Bartusik. He scores for the Fordham Rams, making the score for this game 18-5. 7:37 left on this clock. Fordham, George playing full pool defense right now for George Washington. George Washington's number 8, Andrea, for Fordham, for George Washington. Back out to number 10, Adonis Vasilis, passes to the right side. Over to number 8, passes to cross pool, working to the middle off the top post. Too much aggression by George Washington. 7:04 left in this fourth period, excuse me. Number 11 working. Mark Katzov back up top for these Fordham Rams. Looking for the open man. Marco for Fordham working. That's a turnover. George Washington getting the ball back. For George Washington, looking for the open man down the pool. Number 10, Adonis Vasilis gets the pass. Looking for the open man, 6:32 left on the clock. For Fordham working their way to the mid-post. That's a goal for George Washington. Number 3, Leo Lutterman gets it past the Fordham Rams. It's 18-6 with 6:23 left on the clock. George Washington getting another score in this fourth period. Working his way up the pool. For number 2, back to number 19. Chungar Bartusik passes it back to 2. To number 22. Caps coming unloosened for number 19. Back over to the right side, into the middle of the pool, passing it back. George Washington gets a possession. That was very, shot clock goes off, but before that happens, George Washington gets possession back. Number 14 on George Washington, Peter Durklov, to number 7 up top. Number 8, save by Mangoni. Fordham Rams. He's a freshman, 6'8", but Fordham able to get down pool. Number 22, back to number 11, rising into the mid post, passing it out to Fordham. Fordham's maintaining the possession. Back out, George Washington gets that ball, rising. It's going to be a foul on George Washington. Fordham getting a 6-on-5 opportunity with the exclusion. Fordham working, passing the ball back out to number 11, back to the right wing. Back to the top. For George Washington, something's not going right. GW Revolutionaries, it seems like something went wrong. Maybe that the exclusion went in too early. Refs talking it over from side to side. Poole getting it back. Looking to figure it out right now. Talking to the scorer's table is referee. Looking to get play resumed very soon. Seems like a little confusion happened against George Washington and the referee. Something might have happened with the exclusion coming in too soon for GW. Looking to see Fordham maintaining this. The refs also looking confused, talking it over, trying to see what went wrong here. But to highlight the success of this Fordham water polo team, they're the most accomplished team in Fordham sports programming over the last decade. This Fordham water polo team has been. It's of note to be how great they have been, and over the last 4 years, being the Mid-Atlantic Conference Championship 2021, 22, and 23. Fordham's been very, very good and trying to get back to the NCAA tournament this year. And with a record like this right now, they'll get a bid. But play is resuming. Pass it back out for the Fordham goalkeeper. Back to number 11 in the left wing. Back to the top, number 22. Over to the right wing. Up top. That's a goal! Number 15 on Fordham, Christopher Gray, skips it past George Washington for a score. 4:44 left on the clock. Fordham with some substitutions. 19-6 for Fordham right now. Ahead of these George Washington Revolutionaries. Fordham's running away with this one, looking to improve their record to 12-0. The record best since 1973, when Fordham won all of their first 10 matches, and they've won their first 10 matches. And today, winning a win against Navy, winning their first 11. Looking to get play resumed now. The ball going back into the GW Revolutionaries pretty soon. Referee talking it over with the Fordham head coaches. Trying to... Looking like some confusion going on. Fordham having some confusion on substitutions, it looks like. Well, that's all figured out. And now GW is working their way up the pool. Over to the right side, number 10 for GW, Antanas Vasilis. Passes to 8. Andres Cyrillic. That's a goal! GW scoring on number 2. Yam Kobakov gets it through. Cutting the lead, Fordham 19, George Washington 7, with 4:27 left on the clock. Some substitutions being made by George Washington right now. Getting ready. Back over, number 15. Passes out to 21. Passes to the right wing. Pump faking into the mid-post. That's given right to the George Washington goalkeeper, Luca Castrona. Passing it downfield. Down pool, if I do say. Back to number 2, Yam Kobakov. Skipping it in. George Washington getting it past. That's number 10, Adonis Vassis. Scoring another goal for George Washington from Athens, Greece, the 6'2 junior. For George Washington with 3:59 left in this game. George Washington cuts the lead down to 11, 19-8, with 3:54 left on the clock. Passes, it's a race to see who will get it first. It's a Fordham ball. Passes it cross right side for Fordham. Back to the top, number 13. Tyler Flaherty working. Back to number 15, Christopher Gray. Fordham turns the ball over with 3:30 left on the clock. GW working back up the pool with a substitution. George Washington taking a timeout to get their substitutions in the pool. Swapping out right now for George Washington, getting it all figured out. Looks like Connor Germain might be going into the goal for George Washington. He will be swapping out for Luca Castroni. The timeout for GW, talking it over. Barry King, his 5th year as the GW head coach. Connor Germain comes in as the New Haven Hydras Junior Olympics team captain his senior year in the NESPA. From Hamden, Connecticut, the 6'2" freshman, getting some reps under his legs today. But we'll see how it goes. Fordham working their way back up the pool. George Washington working their way up as well. See George Washington getting the ball. Back to Germain. Going to be tossing it to the open man, which is number 15 on George Washington. Passing it out to the right side. Fordham playing some tough defense, taking it away. But George Washington maintains possession in the 5-meter line. In the 2 meters. Back out. Race for the ball. Fordham's going to win this race. Taking it himself, number 13. Tyler Flaherty swimming up pool. Working it up. Number 21. Passing it to the mid-post for number 2. That's a goal for number 5. Jagger McManus, excuse me. Scoring another goal for the Fordham Rams. It's 20-8. Fordham with 3:01 left on the clock. Fordham playing full defense. George Washington looking for the open man on the right side. Into the flats. Over to the right, over to the left flat. Into the center of the pool. Back out to number 14. Peter Duklov working his way up the pool. Duklov passing it back to number 9. Kalen Smith looking to rise. Tags it right out for Fordham. Reggie Robles is in the pool right now, getting his shot today from Budapest, Hungary. But for Fordham working their way back up. Number 19 getting the ball. Chungor Bartusik passing it back to the mid-post to number 16. Reed Thorson back up to 19. Over to the right wing. It's not going to be in. Off the top of the crossbar for the Fordham Rams. George Washington got lucky. It bounced out. But for George Washington working their way back up the pool. Number 4, Alec Postvy working his way back to the right side, right wing. Fordham getting the ball back with 1:47 left. Reggie Robles will throw it in with 1:38. Number 21 passing it back to the right wing. Over to the center. Number 16 back to 19. Over to 15. Fordham Rams working the ball around, pump faking off the top of the crossbar. Back to number 21. Looks like Fordham's wasting the clock out right now. 20-8 with 1:14 left on the clock. George Washington coming back out. Connor Germain passing it to the midpoint, trying to cross the timeline to number 9, Paula Miragol. 59 seconds left on the clock. Back to the 5-meter point, crossing the cones for George Washington, over to the right wing, working it into the mid-post. Back out, number 9, back to the middle of the pool, working his way back up. Off the hands of number 17, Brendan Cassidy for Fordham with 38 seconds left. Fordham Rams looking like they might be running out the shot clock to end this game. They will be running out the shot clock to end this game. 27 seconds left. 16 seconds left on the shot clock. Fordham is improving to a 12-0 record. Best in program history for these Fordham Rams. 6 seconds left on the shot clock. 4, 3, 2. Shot clock violation on the Fordham Rams. 9 seconds left. George Washington trying to cut the score down a little bit more. Working their way back up the pool. Number 9. That's a goal for the final score of the game for George Washington. That's number 9, Paula Miragol, with 3 seconds left on the clock. They cut down the score. Oh, excuse me. Kaylin Smith for George Washington's number 9. 3 seconds left. 2 seconds. Fordham improving to a 12-0 record. First time in program history. Fordham will have one more game in this 3-game set today, taking on Mercyhurst at 6:30. But with that, at the Conal B. Francis Messmore Aquatic Center. Thank you for listening to this remote broadcast of the CWPA Collegiate Water Polo from Rose Hill. I'm Kurt Sipple signing off for a final time. Fordham 20, GW 9. Thank you so much for listening.